last thing is lack of monitoring. You don't have adequate monitoring for these IDs, these privileged IDs in a business as usual approach. Okay, now let's talk about identity proliferation. We have been using this term for a while now. So basically, let's take a scenario here. You have a small team with few servers. You have 4 administrators, 100 servers. You have, each one having an ID on each of the servers, 400 privileged user IDs. That's still okay. Now the problem begins when you start adding more people, more servers. Your data centers, it's a big team. You have 40,000, in this case 40 administrators, 1,000 servers, 40,000 privileged user IDs. The same way it goes from 400 to 4 million privileged user IDs, even we considering one ID on these each of these servers. Now result, security risk, cost of administration, productivity goes down. So these are direct impact on having these many IDs in the environment or with the privileged access. So that's identity proliferation. Now, why do we care for privileged identities? Because 3 of the top 10 security threats to enterprise are insider related. Either employee error, because it could be skill level, or data stolen by partner or an employee who is terminated or he has still access to the environment. Insider sabotage. Insider-driven fraud costs U.S. enterprises around $600 billion annually. So that's a huge amount. You have these news lines which talk about, example here, San Francisco case. A user with Terry Childs, he hijacked the system and refused to turn over the password for the network. So it was around 1 week the servers were totally under control of this hacker, bringing down the impact on the environment, bringing down the business. So that's so big. In another case, a French bank was rocked by a rogue trader who hacked into the system and he made huge unauthorized trades. He hid it for several months, which how he could do because of the loopholes in the environment. There's another one. So this lady in Colorado Department of Revenue, she was supposed to fix the IDs or clean the IDs, and she ended up cleaning it out. So what she did is she changed the passwords of supervisors who had left the state, the office or the State Department, and she forged their signatures and did the transactions. So what was missing? Deactivating user accounts and resetting passwords when an employee is left. Monitoring use of privileges and suspicious accounts. Segregation of duties. This lady had access to manage users plus also do some business transaction, which is a segregation of duty violation. So if separation or segregation of duty was control was in place, this issue wouldn't have happened at least. So that's why we need to care privileged identities. Who does really care? It's our auditors. There are industry compliance standards, PCI, SOX, you have HIPAA, TRI, and so on and so forth. They have several controls suggested, and those need to be addressed, and these are quite much around privileged identities, especially insufficient internal controls over privileged accounts negatively impacts an organization's capability to meet the above requirement of storing the protecting the cardholders' data. So, and even maintaining the secure systems and the applications. Restrict access to cardholders' data by business need to know. So this is why it is so important, and auditors really look into it, in a very detailed way, and they need the justification of each of those access made for any of these activities done using privileged IDs. All right. So now we talked about privileged identities, we talked about models, we talked about various issues, news lines which talked about the misuse of these IDs happened. Now let's get into the IBM's security framework and the product side of the house. IBM has a security framework which addresses 5 areas as described here. You have people and identity, data and information, application and process, network, server and endpoint, physical infrastructure. So IBM Privileged Identity Manager is, it falls under people and identity. We'll get into it. So that's about framework.